Thanks for listening to Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast, keeping you up to date with the latest in American soccer. And don't forget to subscribe.
Hello everyone, welcome to Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast. My name is Steven Jodorant. Joining me today, as always, is Jake Watroba and Armanka5. And on today's episode, we sip some tea and, well, look forward to USA versus Jamaica in the Gold Cup semifinal. Now listeners, you know the drill. Hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, and follow us at Uncle Sam's Soccer Pod. And Jake and Armand, this US women's national team is phenomenal. No need to criticize. Honestly, there's no need to spend more than 4 minutes on this topic. You know why? It's because they are the most dominant team we have seen in modern international football. They are not scared of anybody. They simply
that's
will
take.
win.
I like it.
Jake, Armand, US is unbeaten in its last 16 World Cup matches. 13 wins, 3 draws. Winning the last 11 in a row. That's the record. The U.S. has 6 goals in the opening 15 minutes of this World Cup. That's more than 14 teams have total at the World Cup. The U.S. is the only nation to have reached the semifinals of all 8 FIFA Women's World Cups since the inaugural tournament in 1991. This is the 3rd World Cup in which the U.S. women's national team has never trailed entering the final. This U.S. Soccer Federation, under the U.S. women's national team title, is 39-4-6. Outscoring opponents 136-38 in 49 games at World Cups. All FIFA World Cup records. The U.S. women's national team has had 9 different goal scorers at this tournament alone. Only the 03 German team with 10 and the 99 American team with 10 have had more in a single World Cup. I mean, is there something this U.S. women's national team can't do? I mean, seriously. Insane.
I don't think there is anything they can't do. And they did it without Megan Rapinoe, yeah? Who says the best player? Did it without her. Kristen Press had to get the start due to a hamstring issue with Rapinoe. They have so much depth. You know what? You're getting tired? You can just sub on Carly Lloyd. Easily one of the most dominant teams. And they're one step away from going back-to-back in World Cups.
That's the other thing. 3 straight World Cup finals. I mean, just impeccable. What can you say?
There's nothing you really can say. They're flat out the best team in the world. And I think we all owe an apology for saying they were going to lose to France. So I will submit my apology letter right now. I'm so sorry to the U.S. women's national team for doubting them.
Yeah. Heading
into that game against France. No, I watched this game today, and it was about as thorough a performance as I think I've seen from them this tournament. They dominated England. I mean, England had very few chances. Every time I looked up and was watching that game for periods of time, the U.S. was creating chance after chance. The ball was constantly in England's in the U.S. attacking third. It just seemed like one-way traffic today towards that England net. And I'm kind of surprised that the U.S. only mustered 2 goals, to be quite frank with you guys.
Yeah. And guys, listeners, the U.S. haven't played crap. They played the number 3 and 4 ranked team in the world to get to this final. France, the 4th ranked team in the quarterfinals, and England, the 3rd ranked team, according to the FIFA World Rankings. It's not like they've had easy teams to get past. They've had to go up against great competition, and they have made it look easy. It's it's mind-boggling. We talked a lot about all the world's catching up to the U.S. I mean, the talent alone on this U.S. team, the depth, it's just insane. We could go on about this game, but they're going to win the World Cup. I'll say it now. They'll win the World Cup. Congratulations, back-to-back. Say it right now.
Oh, yikes. Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite you. Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite you.
Yeah, do you really think it's going to come back and bite me?
I mean, it's football, man. You'll know what happens.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's
Hades in the semifinal of the Gold Cup.
Yeah, okay. That's the reporter in you talking. Jake, one more note from this game. And you and Armand have had a little bit of a disagreement on whether or not the penalty call was correct.
That penalty, in my eyes, 100% a penalty. 100% a penalty.
Honestly, I feel like I'm stupid. Like, I feel like I missed something. Listeners, you can at me at Armand Kafai and just explain to me what it was. Maybe I'm just completely missing something. I feel like Sister Ellen White drew it was Ellen White, right? Who was in the middle on that play. I feel like she drew the contact by when she was cocking up her shot, and Becky Sauerbrunn was just there. I mean, nothing much you can really do in that instance. I mean, I guess whatever. I guess I'm honestly wrong, according to the polls on Reddit and Twitter. But I mean, I feel like it's more of a comparison of, like, when you're in the NBA and you shoot, it's like someone jumping into you, like, you're there. Like, what can you do? I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I thought it wasn't a penalty. That kind of gave a lifeline late on to, like, get a chance, and luckily Nair made that save. But I don't agree with it.
Yeah, typical England fashion.
Blowing it.
Missing penalties when it matters the most. I mean, as soon as that penalty was, as soon as they did the review of it and the ref awarded England the penalty, I'm like, she's gonna miss. This is England. They're gonna miss a penalty. And a few seconds later,
a terrible penalty.
That was one of the worst penalties I've seen.
Terrible.
That penalty was, that shot was, I don't want to miss the net. That's what that shot was. Such a bad penalty. Such a bad penalty. What an easy save for Nair.
Way too easy.
As we know, Jill Ellis made 2 changes in the starting 11, bringing in Christine Press for Megan Rapinoe, who had a hamstring strain, which set Twitter ablaze. Everybody really didn't know what was going on with Rapinoe sitting out.
I mean, Steven, you want to hear the most comical thing?
What's up?
The most comical thing to me was that people were trying to rationalize it like it was tactical. Like, no, it's not. You're not going to take off your leading goal scorer for, like, some tactical reason. You're going to let her play through it. You're one of your best players. Be like, oh, it's tactical. His bronze is so good. And, this and that. It's like, no, there had to be some sort of injury. Sure, Jill Ellis has made some questionable things, but she isn't stupid. Like, you have to play Rapinoe in that instance. That's what I think, at least. I don't know about you guys. Some people are trying to rationalize, like, oh, some tactical stuff. There's nothing tactical about that.
Hope Solo, who we've credited,
who's a clown.
Okay, well, I think she's been more spot on with her tactical analysis.
She has been more right than wrong this World Cup, I would say.
She said that Rapinoe sitting on the bench, she can't go full 90, but look, she had a hamstring injury. At this point, you go with the 100% health over somebody who's 82% with and especially in a hamstring when 100%. This is a sport when you're running around. I mean, that hamstring goes. Next thing you know, you're having to make a substitution in the 22nd minute. That completely changes your game plan. She did the right thing. Put the gal that is completely healthy over somebody who has a potential to completely pull a muscle, and then next thing you know, your game plan is out the window, and you've completely screwed yourself. The other change she made was Lindsey Horan in the midfield in place of Samantha Mewis. Both players provided a lot of fresh legs. So yeah, Alex Morgan, and of course it had to be the substitution, Christine Press, to get the first goal, and Alex Morgan getting the winner there. But sipping tea apparently is controversial in of itself. Who would have thought that this goal celebration would piss off somebody? But Leanne Sanderson, a professional footballer for Juventus, has 50 caps with the English team. She had this to say on beIN Sports.
Yeah, I think tonight I expected Alex to grab a goal, but I'm not that happy with that celebration. You can celebrate however you want, but that for me is a bit distasteful. And I don't think she needs to do that. She can celebrate however she wants. And I'm a big believer in the Americans and how they celebrate. But for me, this was a little bit disrespectful.
It is her 30th birthday, to give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, maybe that's why she celebrated like that. But for me, I think I could be wrong, but it's based upon playing against England, and we love our tea in England. I'm not a tea drinker, but, that's what we're connected with. So I'm a little bit, I think it's a little bit distasteful.
We spent a good chunk of the beginning of this World Cup ripping on the women and talking about the celebrations against Thailand. But this time around, I'm giving Alex Morgan a round of applause. I love the celebration. Great celebration. I don't care what anybody has to say. I don't care if England is offended by the little tea party. I don't care. That was a great celebration. 1776. It's 4th of July on Thursday. America. Great celebration.
What? I don't get it. Is this racism towards the English now? I don't get it. Armand, do you get it?
It's just salt. That's what it is. It's just salt. It's just, you play for a national team, got national pride. It's just salt. That's all it is.
And those on Twitter who commented about the end of the game and how the English players were unprofessional, and some people started using Phil Neville's quotes and turning and twisting his words. Look, when a player spits on somebody, that's the lowest bar you can get. But the tackle, Jake, you and I were talking about it. It didn't warrant this unprofessional nonsense of twisting Phil Neville's words against what he said against Cameroon and using them against this English squad.
Look, if you think that challenge late in that game was intentional, you have no understanding of football. I mean, why would England intentionally take a cheap shot that late in a semifinal?
Millie Bright's the one that got the red card, by the way.
Why would Billy Bright take that shot? Why would she take a cheap shot at a U.S. player late in the game down a goal in a semifinal of the World Cup? Makes no sense. So for anyone who thinks that was an intentional tackle with the boot raised above the ball, stud showing, I don't buy it. Get out of here.
Yeah, well, that's your wrap on the U.S. women's national team. We'll have more leading up to the final. We do not know who the opponent will be. Might be European champ Netherlands or the Swedes, which would be very interesting. Obviously, they played together in the group, but the U.S. and the Swedes really do not like the U.S. So it'll be a fantastic final. Can't wait for it. We'll have, like I said, some content for you leading up to the final. But let's turn the page. Let's go across the Atlantic and talk about another semifinal, which is tonight. And guys, let me read you this opening paragraph from ussoccer.com talking about this match tonight. Dateline Chicago. Coming off 4 matches in which the side has outscored opponents 12-0, the U.S. men's national team takes on familiar foe Jamaica in the 2019 CONCACAF Gold Cup semifinal on Wednesday, July 3rd at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. Coverage of USA-Jamaica begins at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1, Univision, UDN, and Football de Primera radio networks. Guys, that headline, I'm sorry, is a little bit misleading. 12-0 outscoring your opponents. Yeah, doesn't tell you the story of the lackluster performances on the pitch. It's a funny way of talking about this match tonight.
We got to sell hope. We got to sell hope. Let's not talk about how we scored those 12 goals or what it really looked like or who we played. We scored 12 goals. Those 12 goals could have been against Mexico, for all we know.
Yeah, that's
Those
true.
12 goals could have been against Guyana. Those 12 goals could have been against anybody, really. But we'll leave that up to the reader to decide who those 12 goals were up against. Because outscoring your opponents 12-0 in 4 matches sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Sounds good on paper.
Yeah. Armand, if I had told you the U.S. would score 12 goals leading into the semifinal in 4 matches, you would have taken it.
Yeah, 3 goals per game, right? But the funny thing is, 10 of those 12 goals came against Trinidad and Guyana. So, whoop-de-doo, I guess, right? I guess that really means something.
Jake, tell us how the Reggae Boyz got to the semifinal?
Jamaica, believe it or not, got to the final. They beat Honduras 3-2, tied El Salvador 0-0, and tied Curacao 1-1 in the group stage. Jamaica did win their group. And in the CONCACAF Gold Cup quarterfinals, Jamaica squared off against Panama, in which they won 1-0.
But, Armand, I think what people need to know is that this Jamaican side isn't filled with European stars.
I mean, outside of Leon Bailey from Leverkusen, that's about it. No, that's genuinely about it. But I mean, Kamar Lawrence from the Red Bulls is fantastic. You know, they even have Peter Vassell. You guys know Peter Vassell is, plays for LAFC, was a draft pick, and he's been getting lots of minutes for them as well. No, they're not. They don't have European stars. They have one. I mean, outside of that, they're kind of, you know, MLS and, you know, USL based. So from, you know, like an eye test of looking at these teams, you'd probably say the U.S. has a leg up. I mean, you can't really trust anything with the U.S. You know, they like making things interesting and fun for some reason.
13 players play their trade in the United States for Jamaica. Obviously, a couple players that Armand just mentioned: Andre Blank of the Union, Kamar Lawrence of the Red Bulls, Elvis Powell of FC Cincinnati, Peter Vassell of LAFC, as Armand mentioned, and Darren Matix of FC Cincinnati. 7 more play in USL. So this squad is less than the US, okay? Fair to say. At Unc Sam Soccer Pod, at Steven Jodron, if you disagree. But Jake, what is really interesting about the Reggae Boyz is they have had success in recent years against the US.
Yeah, in 2015, the Reggae Boyz pulled off a 2-1 semifinal upset of the U.S. at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta to advance to their first Gold Cup final.
Was it
2017?
Sorry to interrupt, but wasn't that basically what ended Jurgem's tenure with the U.S. men's national team leading up into qualification? The fact
that's
that he
what got the
ball
that's
rolling.
what got his seat real hot. That's when his seat started getting real hot.
Yep.
And yet we play Jamaica again in a very important semifinal. Interesting.
But continuing here, in 2017, they returned to the championship match, but fell 2-1 as the U.S. men's national team raised its 6th Confederation Championship trophy on July 26, 2017 at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California.
And that's the game where goalkeeper Andre Blake broke his hand, or came off as a substitution, if I remember correctly. Armand, this is kind of when we started the Uncle Sam Soccer podcast. I remember talking to you about this match. And that tournament was when Mexico rolled out a B squad, and it was the US's to lose. So as much as winning its 6th Confederation Championship, Gold Cup.
Because that was the year of the Confederations Cup, right?
Yep.
So that's why they were like, oh, we're gonna put all our eggs in the Confederations Cup, and we're gonna put the B team out for the Gold Cup. So
that's why the U.S. won.
Yep, I remember that. I remember that. That was when I first started. No, look, Jamaica always can pose a threat. They didn't look really that impressive in their win over Panama, to be quite honest with you. But again, the U.S. did look impressive in their win against Curacao. So it should be a battle of. I mean, they're obviously the U.S.-Jamaica matchup is much more even than Haiti-Mexico. So I expect a pretty good affair. But again, Leon Bailey is so lethal. He's just such a good, technically gifted player. He's just so lethal. I'm worried to see how he's gonna go up against a guy like a Nick Lima or like a Tim Ream, which that thought kind of just gives me some shivers. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little scary to think about, guys.
And last but not least, guys, who can forget? Jamaica defeated the U.S. 1-0 in a June 5th friendly right before this Gold Cup. But not all hope is lost. The USA does hold the advantage in this series with a 15-3-8 overall advantage and a 4-0-1 edge in Gold Cup play.
Armand, does that friendly have any carryover effect, even if it's just mental for either squad?
With the way Greg Berhalter will tell the squad, I don't think it will. I think Berhalter will just be like, look, guys, like, Berhalter has openly said, like, why is everyone confused that we lost? Why does everyone care we lost this game? Like, who cares? We're experimenting. You come in with that, I think they'll be fine, man. You have to realize there's players like Jackson Ewell was starting in that game. Look, he's not on the Gold Cup roster. It really shouldn't have any impact on them. And I don't think it will either. Maybe though at the beginning, maybe if it's like, a very close game, maybe some doubt will start to creep in, but I don't think so. It really shouldn't.
Which leads us to the question of the day, listeners, at Unc Sam Soccer Pod. We want to hear your thoughts. We also want to hear your thoughts on the U.S. women's national team. Go USA. But how much pressure is on the U.S. and Greg Berhalter and company to perform well versus getting the W?
Your eyes, you're all about surviving in advance, huh?
I think, yeah. At this point, depending on the outcome of Mexico and Haiti, we are recording during the match. It's all about getting to the final. Go out there and get that trophy. Because
I think that's a fair point, yeah.
It's most likely that the match follows the U.S. women hoisting the World Cup and having the title of world champions, back-to-back world champs. I generally do think there's more pressure on getting the W. I don't care what it looks like. At this point, I don't care anymore.
You just want to win.
I just want to win. And again, this is a layup. This team is made up of 7 players that play in the USL. Apart from the Union, guys, FC Cincinnati, not that good. Red Bulls, been Obviously, Peter Vassell of LAFC has also been up there. But it's not like this team has players at top clubs in MLS either. This should be a layup, Jake, right? Layup.
Well, June 5th's match should have been a layup, regardless if Jackson Ewell was starting or not in that game. So, I guess, what did we learn from the Curacao match, Stephen, by saying this should be a layup and this U.S. men's national team?
Well, I'm take-cornered, so I'm going to continue with the narrative of layups.
You're right, though. But recent history suggests that this game should be anything but a layup. Like we read off earlier.
Yeah.
The recent Gold Cup results.
Yeah, fair point.
I think this is gonna be a nervy match. Actually, I think I don't think the U.S. is going to walk away with an easy 2-0 defeat or a 3-0 defeat. No, I think there's going to be a lot of grinding. I think Jamaica is going to put up a great fight.
Okay.
I think this is going to be a close match late in the game.
But take it back to the question of the day. How much pressure is on the U.S. to perform well versus just getting the W?
I think there's a ton of pressure on them to perform well because look who they're playing. Again,
what?
If it was just get the W, if it was Mexico, yes, just get the W. I don't care how it looks, just beat Mexico. But when you're playing Curacao or you're playing Jamaica, and even teams like Panama too, why is this a close match? Why do I feel like this game is a coin flip? Why do I feel like the opposition has a better than snowball's chance in hell in actually winning this game?
I think just at this point, you know what, Steven? You've converted me. It's just survive in advance.
Yeah.
You need to get to that point to play Mexico. I think that's more important than a sexy performance against Jamaica.
Let me ask you, because sorry to interrupt you, Armand, but don't you think the players, how some players or that where you play down to some competition just because you feel like, ugh, I'm playing you. We see it in the NFL. We see it in the NBA. We see it in Europe. We do. And these teams against Curacao, Guyana, does Christian Pulisic really care? Does Weston McKennie really care? But, there's Mexico. One of the greatest rivalries in international football. Mexico-USA. You don't think they would get hyped up for it? So, I think the tune changes Sunday if they get there. But, Armand, I agree with you. Survive in advance. But, what happens? What happens if they have this fluke 1-0 loss and they hold majority of possession, have more shots? Twist it from what we said against Curacao, where you have a 1-0 win, but you dominate in possession, you dominate in shots, and the goalkeeper stands on his head.
Then you get criticized. Then you get criticized for not making the final.
Yeah, I
That's how
agree.
it is.
Survive in advance.
All right, boys, but before we wrap up here, prediction time. What are your predictions? Armand, I'll start with you.
For me, I see the U.S. winning 2-0. It'll be 1-0, probably like the 30th minute, and the U.S. the second one to close it. I think it's going to be a little bit more comfortable in Curacao, surprisingly. I think it's going to be a little bit more comfortable. You won't see them cede that much possession as well. I see it as motivation to get to Mexico, and I see them making it to play on Sunday.
There's history with this Jamaica-USA tie in the semifinals, or even in the final. So it goes back and forth. I think you'll set on the scoreline where it's competitive. The U.S. will get a goal, but we'll see how Jamaica reacts to it. We'll see. They're not scared of the U.S. They have speed. They have pace. I'm curious to know what the mental makeup of this U.S. team is. I still don't know who the emotional leader is. I still don't know if we're going to see a 10th different captain. My money's on, we'll see a different captain out there against Jamaica because that's how Greg Berhalter's been rolling. I don't think Greg Berhalter has the full confidence of the locker room. I think he's tinkering a little too much at times, and players kind of get confused. He's making it a little too complicated. As Armand said, he's too smart for the locker room. There's a lot of pressure on this U.S. team to perform well and to get the W. I know it's kind of a split of the question of the day, but still, this U.S. team needs to go out there and get the W, and if they face Mexico on Sunday, what an exciting match that will be.
I have them winning 2-1. I have the U.S. winning this match 2-1. It won't be convincing, but they'll get the job done. Listeners, send in your predictions. And don't forget, question of the day. How much pressure is on the USA to perform well versus getting the W versus Jamaica? At Unc Sam Soccer Pod, send in your thoughts. You can follow Stephen Jodaran at Stephen Jodaran. You can follow Armand Kafai at Armand Kafai. And you can follow myself at Jake Watroba. Make sure, by the way, you all have a happy and safe 4th of July. Don't blow your hands off lighting off fireworks. We don't want it. We don't want any Jason Pierre-Pauls. All right. Be safe out there.
Armand,
right? Be smart.
Armand, you lighting off any fireworks?
Dude, I'll be in the press box watching FC Dallas play on July 4th, man. I'll be watching fireworks be let off, but I'm not going to be I'm not going to be burning my hand off.
An American tradition, watching soccer on 4th of July. Anyway, listeners, happy 4th. We'll be back in the coming days with more U.S. soccer-related material. Until next time.